let me ask you this. Would you rather, if you're going to have 10 strategy sessions, right? 10 prospective people that are interested in maybe signing up for your program, would you rather have 10 people who would identify as struggling Christian women, or would you rather have 10 people who would identify as successful Christian women? Hey, welcome back to the Kingdom Builders Academy podcast. We're so glad that you are here today tuning in for a very important episode, Coach Tam. This is kind of like one of those skill builder episodes, one of the key skills in the space. If you're a writer, speaker, coach, influencer, thought leader, online entrepreneur, ministry leader, this is, I'd say it's in my top 3, and it might be number 1 of skills.
Yeah, I agree.
In this space. And I know there's a lot of people, a lot of successful entrepreneurs that have built entire businesses on this one skill.
Absolutely. Are we going to tell them what the skill is?
Tell them, Coach Tam.
All right. Today, we are talking about all things copywriting. Don't tune out. This is such an exciting episode. It's such an exciting topic. And as Zachary said, I think if there was one skill that you could use to print money, it is the skill of copywriting. If you will learn how to be compelling in copy, you are going to make so much money and you're going to change lives as well. So we wanted to give everybody some kind of tips and tactics and training on copywriting today. We've got a live audience in the house and we've invited them to drop some of their copy in the chat, and we might even tackle a little bit of that live and see about using it as teaching points and refining that copy live. But Zachary, we both kind of, I think, have a lot of experience in this realm, and we have a lot of thoughts on it. And this is one of those topics, to me, it's like public speaking or like coaching that I could talk about all day long and just have an absolute blast with it. I think this is a super, super fun topic. So I'm going to pass off to you and ask for your opening thoughts on copywriting.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to. I'm organizing. I always like to have a good big 3 or top 5. So I've got my top 3 copywriting quotes. Okay. So sometimes you can just have a succinct quote that is wow, that is a principle that I need to hold on to. That is a principle that I need to harness. So I've got my top 3 principles that I want to share around copywriting. But just to round out, because another big 3, those big 3 skills, we've talked about this before, and I think we've done episodes on each of these 3, but those big 3 skills in the space, all C's: copywriting, confidence, and creating value. Those are the big 3. And honestly, copywriting and confidence go together hand in hand. I'm telling you, when I say I know people who have built $1 million businesses just on the back of copywriting, I would even add copywriting and confidence. And sometimes it just comes off to me as bravado. Oh my gosh, this person's got a lot of bravado and they can build great businesses. It doesn't mean they always have great products on the back end. Doesn't mean their services are actually game changing. But what they are able to do is motivate people to action. And that's a big key in copywriting that is intentional. And if we want copywriting, and again, just to really be clear, copywriting is the written word. We're not talking about trademarks and patents and copyrights. Right. That's a different use of the word. Copywriting is the written word. It's taking the ideas you have, the stories you want to tell, the calls to action that you want to inspire people to do, and putting it in writing. So it's your emails, it's your Facebook posts, it's your Facebook ads, it's all of those things. It's the bullet points, it's the pages, it's the website copy, right? That's all copywriting. So here's the number 1 key that I think when it comes to copywriting, and I'll share my first quote. My first quote, I don't think I can even attribute all 3 of these quotes. I know they're not original to me, but the 3 that I've adopted. Number 1 quote is have something to say and say it well. Right? That's if you're stepping into this influencer space, if you're stepping into this thought leader space, and it is an amazing space to be in, one of the first things that we always do with our students is get clarity on who do you help, how do you help them, right? And what do you have to offer? So what's really in alignment with that as it relates to copywriting is have something to say and say it well. And I think what's really key to that is clarity. That's the number 1 thing with copy is sometimes we really want to get cute with our copy, right? Like we want to have an alliteration, we want to have an acronym. And, of course, like I always do that too. My big three was all C's. So, but what's super important is that we are clear more than we are clever, and it's clear is greater than cute. Like that's like probably the number one principle around copywriting is that you've got something to say, and I'm going to say it well. And in an effort to say it well, what I am prioritizing is not being clever or cute, but being really clear, being like super clear who I'm talking to, what I'm talking about, what my point is, what is something that we can actually walk away and do with this, what was the purpose of this paragraph, what was the purpose of this post, what is the purpose of this ad, who is it for, what's the next step. Like clarity is really, I'd say, the number one thing when it comes to copy.
Yeah, that's so good. So good. You know what's crazy? Another C is that I have three C's too. I brought you three C's as well. And this is just a little bit of a framework for writing your copy. I would say number one is compelling. Be compelling in your writing. In other words, if it's not fun and interesting to read, if people aren't getting some value as well as entertainment value from your copy, they're not going to read it. They're going to read somebody else's copy that is entertaining and gives value and makes pertinent points that are actionable and that they can actually use in their real life. So you want to be compelling. The second C is conversational, is be conversational. Have you ever read somebody's copy that you just thought, wow, I could be this person's friend? They sound like me. I feel like I'm having a conversation with them. I can relate to them. That's a good copywriter right there. It's like when you watch a television show and the acting is so good and you lose yourself in the story. It's so fun compared to when the acting is clunky and you're paying attention to their acting or their lack thereof instead of the storyline, right? So when you're conversational, it helps to facilitate that bond with your reader, but it also makes you relatable. So that's the second C, is to be conversational. And I always think that copy should have a call to action. And that's my third C, a call to action. And it doesn't even need to be something like buy this product or sign up for this webinar. It can be something like, how can you use this in your daily life? What will you do today to implement this idea? But give them something that they can go away with and that they can actually use it.
Yeah.
All right, Zach, I have more thoughts, but I'm going to pass that.
Yeah, no, I want to piggyback on your second one. Those are all great. Compelling is really good. I'd maybe put compelling ahead of clarity, but you got to have both. So conversational, I think that's a really good one, because here's a little practical tip that we can give you. Another thing that we do, all our students know this, is really get clear on who is your avatar. Like, who are you talking to? And when we talk about like avatar, it is like a picture of that ideal client. Like, what's their name? What do they look like? What do they do? How old are they? I always, when I'm writing for KBA, I have a specific person in mind, and it's changed over the years. It used to be Coach Tom Griffith, Tommy G might be in the house. I would always write to Tom. So instead of saying like, hey friend or hey first name, I'd say, hey Tom. And I would write an email to Tom, or I'd write whatever we are, writing to Tom. Now I write to Devin. Devin, we all know Man in Orange. Devin's in the house. I write to Devin. I say, hey, Devin. And I'm writing to Devin. So that's another thing, like on being conversational and writing a book. I know there's like some great authors like Tim Ferriss, his first book, 4-Hour Workweek, that was just like a, mega viral sensation. He wrote it twice. He wrote it once, like as the expert. He wrote it once as like a writer and like trying to write a good book. And it wasn't good at all, right? The editor didn't like it. His friends didn't like it. He got bad feedback on it. And then he went back to the drawing board and he wrote it to a friend. He literally just wrote it to a friend. Like it was a letter to a friend. And then it was amazing. So like, I think that's a big key, that if you're not doing that, at least as an exercise some of the time. I pretty much would do it all the time, but definitely try that one out. Have a picture of like, hey, who's my best client? Who's the person this is for? And just write it to them. Write the post to them, Coach Tam, conversationally, like you're writing to a friend. Second thing I'll give you on my 3 quotes. I'll give you all 3 here. So number 1 was have something to say and say it well. Number 2, I would say document, don't create. This is another one. And just like, hey, how do we practice the art of copywriting? How do we get in the habit and the rhythm and develop the skill of copywriting? I know that anybody who's tried to write before consistently, you get this blank page syndrome, and you have to think of like, hey, what can I say? What do I have to teach? What's the best thing to write about? Documenting your journey makes it so much easier because we are always going through something, right? Like we are always going through a season. We're always learning something. We're always being stretched. We're always, coming across just funny moments. The more that you can get good at just documenting your story and documenting what you're working on, what you're learning, what you're struggling with, what's bringing you joy, what's bringing you frustration, you will never run out of stuff to talk about. So that's like, I think almost a content creation principle as much as it is a copywriting principle. But in order to be a good copywriter, you have to write, right? And you have to write often, you have to write consistently. And I'd say document, don't create is an amazing principle to get in that rhythm of copywriting and never run out of stuff to write about. And then the third quote, so have something to say it well, document, don't create. Number 3 is you get who you write to. This is so important for all of our Kingdom Builder students in the house. This is one we share often, is you get who you write to. And the example that I'll share is if you're a coach and you're trying to sign up clients for your $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 coaching program, we want people who can afford that.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this. Would you rather, if you're going to have 10 strategy sessions, right? 10 prospective people that are interested in maybe signing up for your program, would you rather have 10 people who would identify as struggling Christian women, or would you rather have 10 people who would identify as successful Christian women? Obviously, we'd rather have people that are successful Christian women. So in order to get those people on the phone, in order to attract those people and bring those people into our world, bring those people into our community, we are going to get who we write to. And if you are writing to struggling Christian women, don't be surprised when all your strategy sessions are with struggling Christian women. Whereas if you write to successful Christian women, be expectant that your strategy sessions are going to be with successful Christian women. So this is, again, like a big part of copywriting is like motivating people to action, whether that's action in their own life, taking the next step in your business. You get who you write to. And this is one that we see really often is that, hey, we want to help people. We want to add value to people. And that's exactly what we do. Like that's the third skill is like creating value. But we've got to be really intentional when it comes to bringing people into our paid programs that we're calling out the right people. We're calling out the people who are going to be able to engage. So you get who you write to is just another one. Be intentional, like have some presence of mind as you write. Next time you write, be like, hey, am I writing to the person that I want to bring in to my next event, that I want to bring in to my strategy session?
Yeah, so good. Well, Zachary, you were saying that if your beautiful wife Jillian were here today, you could count on a story. As you asked, do you have a story? We all have a story, right? And we all have thousands of stories. There's always so much to write about. And I think that sometimes people get in their head about what should I do? It's, like you said, cute and clever instead of clear. But when you think about Jesus, the master storyteller, he told stories about the ordinary and the approachable. He talked about lost coins and lost sheep and owning land. And, he talked about things that people could really relate to. And so I would encourage you as you think about, okay, what's the fodder for my next post or my next email, think about some of the mundane things that have happened in your life, just even recently. And I was kind of thinking about, well, what are some of those things in my life? Well, yesterday, or perhaps it was the day before, this is an example, I had an appointment with an orthopedic surgeon that my husband actually went to last summer, and he had shoulder surgery, and it was successful shoulder surgery. Although when I was there in the office, I said to the doctor, and his staff were sitting around the office desks, and there were probably 4 or 5 people in the room as I was checking out. And I said to the doctor, now, Dr. Weinstein, I want you to know, because I feel like that you're a physician and this can add to your body of knowledge. I said, I want you to know that my husband, Matt, was entirely non-compliant from day one until the entire thing. And everybody started laughing. But the reason I was there with Dr. Weinstein was because 7 weeks ago, I had this brilliant idea that I should learn how to ski bike, because my husband is a really good skier and I'm kind of a intermediate skier, and I wanted to close the gap, the ability gap between us. And so I watched 100 YouTube videos, and I felt like, I think I could do this. I think I've got this thing. And so we rented ski bikes, the both of us did. And I think because I was so psyched for it, and I felt a little bit more confident maybe than my husband did, because I had watched all these videos, which obviously made me an expert. And I just got on, hopped on, and just sort of took off. And I was really loving the experience. Matt was not picking it up so quickly. Matt was a little insecure and hesitant and didn't quite get how to balance his body and what to do. And so I was just kind of zooming down the hill and having a blast. Matt was further up the hill and he was struggling a bit. So I just turned at one point to look up the hill to check on him. Big mistake, by the way. If you ever decide to ski bike, don't do that, because I caught an edge. I don't know what happened. You know, these things happen so quick, you're not quite sure. So I got thrown off the ski bike. It was very dramatic, very violent. And I hit the ground hard and on my back. And when I did, I heard pop. But being the eternal optimist that I am, I thought, I probably just got a free adjustment. Instead of going to a chiropractor, that probably just put me back into alignment, until I sat up and I felt like, oh, I'm going to be sick. I'm going to be very sick. So there was actually the guy who rented us the ski bikes was there with us to instruct us. And he said, so do you want me to call ski patrol? And I said, oh, no, I'll just get up and ride down. I'm okay. And I got up and then I sat right back down. I said, no, actually, I'm not okay. I'm in a lot of pain. And so he called ski patrol, and I went down in the sled of shame, you know, the one that you look at and you go, oh gosh, what did they do? And thankfully there was a clinic right at the bottom of the hill, and they x-rayed me and they found that I had at least 2 broken ribs. So 7 weeks into it, I thought, you know, you can't look inside. You know, they just send you home. They send you home with some opioids. I said to the doctor, do I really need that prescription? I said, you know, I don't like feeling out of my mind. Can I just take Advil or something? And he goes, oh no, you're going to want a prescription. So I gave it to Matt and I said, I don't think I need this. I'm just going to take Tylenol. And then that night I was like, babe, you've got to run to the pharmacy. I need the opioids. So that did help for the first week or so. But 7 weeks into it now, I go see Dr. Weinstein, who operated on Matt's shoulder last summer, and he is poking and prodding. I mean, he did this exam where he's like, and I was nervous the whole time. He was pushing, like, does this hurt? I'm like, I feel like it's going to hurt, but no, it actually didn't hurt. And he's doing all the things. And so the reason, now here's my point, and I do have one, is that in your copywriting, what you really want to do is pound the pain. You do. You want to identify, and I saw Ron Tank in our chat, he was dropping in a lot of copy where he's pounding the pain and talking about his own insecurities and can he do these things. And a lot of people can relate to that, right? They might not necessarily talk about it, but if you do, they're going to lean into it. And you think about, like, you go to a dentist and they're poking you with the metal instrument and going, does that hurt? And you go, ah, and then they do it again. What about this? Ah, no, stop that. Okay, well, how does this feel? Ouch. You know what they're doing? They're convincing you that you need their services. You need their services. And so pounding the pain in your copy is a great thing to do, because the first thing is like really educating people that there's a problem. You can only ignore it for so long. And if you don't do something about it, do you think that that cavity is going to get better on its own? No, it's going to get worse. Like so many of the other problems in our life. If we don't do something about it, it's not going to get better on its own. It's going to get better when you get help. And that, my friends, is a good little lesson for copywriting.
Yeah.
Pound the pain, help them to understand, and do it in an entertaining way. Tell a little story, hang your point on a story, on the peg of a story, just like Jesus did.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I'm glad, Coach Tam, that you've got that story, because I feel like it's a Christian woman leader rite of passage to have a mountain accident. We had Christine Kane on at our last event. She was telling about her mountain accident. We know Todd and Julie Mullins, and she's got her big story on her mountain accident. Now you've got your mountain accident story. So
I do.
big win. All right, last point I have on copywriting comes back to like developing the skill of getting good at copywriting. And I'll give you two things to develop this skill. Number one is to identify it with intention. This is something I want to be good at. Like, this is a skill I want to develop. This is something, okay, Coach Tam, Zack, you've convinced me that I should develop this skill. This is a really useful skill to have. It's something that you can build an entire business on, is just the skill of being a good copywriter. So be intentional about developing that skill and ask the Lord to give you that skill. Like, this is something that you absolutely can bring to the Lord in prayer, and be intentional and ask, God, help me to develop this skill. Like, take this to the Lord in prayer. Like, make this a prayer priority for you, that I want to develop this skill. You know, sometimes like we come to the Lord just with problems, or just with, marriage, finances, health, but God also wants us to be effective leaders. And he wants us to be skilled and equipped to do the things that he's called us to do. And we need skills, right? We need to up-level our skills. So go to the Lord and make it a prayer priority that this is a skill I want to develop. God, give me a fresh anointing. Like Coach Tam ended her whole point with, was Jesus was the master storyteller, right? Greatest storyteller of all time, greatest copywriter of all time. Go to the Lord, be intentional, make it a prayer priority for you. And number two, to develop this skill is immerse yourself in it. Something that I would say you can do before you're a good copywriter is recognize good copy. So have an eye to recognize, hey, is this good copy or is this bad copy? Right? Like, start to develop, like, acquire a taste for good copywriting. Like, it's something that I haven't always thought myself, I'm a great designer, right? Like, I don't feel like I can go into Canva, into Photoshop and be a great designer, but I can absolutely recognize good design and bad design, like, instantly, right? And you probably can too, whether you're a great designer or not. So I would say, hey, if you need to take that gradual step to being a great copywriter, take that step of analyzing copy and discerning, recognizing, is this good copy or is this bad copy? And when you see good copy, read it, right? And save it and read more of it and immerse yourself in that space, and you'll become more of a connoisseur of good copy. And then you'll be able to replicate and recreate that for yourself.
I remember, Zack, when Jillian came to work, your wife Jillian came to work with me at Kingdom Builders Academy, and she said to me, I want you to teach me to be a great copywriter. And I loved that. She had that desire to learn the skill. And we all know, those of you who have been around for any time at all know that Jillian is a fabulous communicator, and she has a tremendous ability in writing as well. But it's a different sort of skill. It's sort of like writing poetry, writing prose, writing fiction, writing nonfiction, writing children's literature. They're all sort of slightly different genres, and there's different little tricks that you can use in each one of those, and copywriting is like that. So I'll leave you with one more, and that is to shorten it up a little bit, and give some breathing room to the reader with white space. So when we send out an email, those of you who are on our email list, you know that we're sending you out something once or twice a week, and it's very conversational. Usually it's fun to read. It has some actionable points that you can use, but you'll see that between every sentence, there's a line space. And the reason for that is because it's easier to read. When I just see a block of copy, and you guys know this about me, is that sometimes when we're doing student critiques and sort of helping to improve and refine copy or websites, landing pages, I'll see a block of copy and I'll just turn away and go, oh no, that's too much. I can't read that. My eyes don't want to look at that. It's just too much copy. So even just breaking it up with line spaces, putting some text in bold, when you underline something or you put some asterisks, when you create dialogue, people love to read dialogue. Rather than telling them what happened, show them in real time using dialogue. So these are some fun ways to kind of break it up and cause the reader to lean in and to want to read your absolutely wonderful copy.
Yeah.
This has been a fun one.
Yeah, I love that. And I've actually got, one of our students here, how can I get on the newsletter? So if you opt in for any of our stuff, if you're listening to the podcast, we'll have a little outro at the end with a link to go grab a free gift. If you opt in for any of our things, you'll get on our list and you'll be able to unsubscribe at any time, but you'll start getting those emails. You can start saving them, immersing yourself in them, see examples of what Coach Tam was just talking about. And so just anytime you see a Kingdom Builders Academy Facebook ad, you can go and grab what we're offering, and you'll get on our list, or you can go to listen to the outro on this podcast and grab a free gift and get on the newsletter and start getting some of these good emails and good demonstrations of good copy. So excellent choice today, Coach Tam, on selecting this topic. Thank you for bringing wisdom and bringing inspiration. And if this has been a good episode, like, subscribe, share it with a friend, and we can't wait to keep the conversation going and support you on your kingdom building journey. So we love you. We bless you. Talk soon. Bye, everyone.
Hi, this is Tamara Lowe, founder of Kingdom Builders Academy, here with a free gift for you, our loyal podcast listeners. We're giving away free copies of my newest book, Business Plus Ministry Equals Success, a superior model to profitably change your world. You can download your free copy right now at kbabook.com. That's kbabook.com. Thanks for tuning in to the Kingdom Builders Academy podcast today. Join us again for our next exciting episode.